Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're breaking down the Washington state quarters that every American collector needs to know about because some of these innocent-looking 25-cent coins are selling for hundreds, thousands, and in rare cases, even tens of thousands of dollars in today's market. These are the overlooked treasures hiding in pocket change, coin jars, and old collections all across the United States. So stay with me until the very end, because I'm revealing the rarest Washington state quarter errors, the valuable varieties, and the exact coins that could turn your everyday change into real money. And if you love discovering the hidden value inside American coins, make sure you hit that subscribe button and join our growing family here on Coins Most Valuable. This is a video you do not want to skip. The next rare coin could already be in your hands. First up, imagine holding a coin that looks completely ordinary, a 1999 New Jersey Washington state quarter with a P mint mark, a coin that millions of Americans spent in everyday change without ever knowing what they were really holding. But this coin carries details, markers, and minting traits that make certain examples far more desirable than most people realize. And yes, this specific coin is valuable far more than the average person would ever guess. That's why collectors across the United States still hunt for the right 1999 P New Jersey quarter every single day. When people think about Washington quarters, they think about pocket change, toll booths, vending machines, but the 1999 New Jersey design marks a major moment in U.S. coin history. It was part of the first wave of the 50 state quarters program, a program that completely transformed American coin collecting. New Jersey was the third state quarter ever released, and the Philadelphia Mint struck a massive number of them. But here's the truth most people don't know. Even with millions made, only a tiny fraction have the qualities collectors truly want. This is why the right 1999 P New Jersey quarter becomes immediately more valuable. And once you understand which traits to look for, you'll never see this coin the same way again. The Philadelphia Mint strikes were not all equal. Some coins came off the dies with far sharper details, deeper definition on Washington's profile, smooth edges, and crisp devices. Others came out weaker, with mushy details and uneven strike pressure. Over time, circulation made it even harder to find well-preserved examples, especially because these coins went straight into everyday use in 1999. People spent them without any thought of saving them. But collectors today know exactly how hard it is to find the right combination of condition, luster, strike quality, and surface preservation. The 1999 P New Jersey design itself features Washington crossing the Delaware, an iconic scene that demands sharp detailing to really stand out. The boats, the water lines, the figures, the flag, these fine details are easily lost with the smallest wear. That's why collectors place huge importance on surfaces free of heavy scratches, contact marks, or dullness. Even tiny imperfections can make the difference between a common coin and a valuable one. Another factor that gives the 1999 P New Jersey quarter added interest is the earliest state quarter die behavior. Because 1999 was the beginning of the series, the mints were pushing massive output numbers. Dies wore quickly, cracks appeared, ridges formed, and certain coins came out with dramatic effects that collectors now search for. Some examples showed die chips near the boat, die cracks across the design, raised metal around the outline of figures, or strong doubling on lettering or details. These kinds of mint characteristics are the precise traits that make a coin stand out, and they absolutely increase collector interest and value. Collectors especially love early state quarters from the Philadelphia Mint because they often show stronger doubling on areas like the mottos, the date, or elements of the river crossing scene. Doubling instantly separates a normal worn quarter from one that collectors consider rare. And even though not every 1999 P New Jersey quarter has it, the possibility keeps collectors searching constantly. Another reason this coin remains important is its role in the massive growth of the hobby during the early 2000s. The 50 state quarters program brought millions of new collectors into the hobby. People saved the coins, traded them, stored them in albums, and search bankrolls. But because so many people saved circulated coins instead of untouched ones, truly well-preserved pieces became much harder to find over time. Most ended up scratched, worn, or heavily circulated long before anyone realized they were collectible. As a result, surviving examples with strong luster, clean surfaces, and sharp details are significantly more desirable. And yes, very valuable. Even though we're not mentioning exact prices, one thing is absolutely true. The right 1999 New Jersey State Quarter can be worth far more than regular pocket change. Collectors have paid strong amounts for superb examples with high eye appeal, sharp detail, or special mint traits. This is why it's so important to examine every single coin carefully. Look closely at the obverse for clarity in Washington's hair, cheek, jawline, and lettering. On the reverse, study the boats, the figures, the river lines, and the mottos. Look for doubling, chips, cracks, or anything that stands out. You might be holding something far more valuable than you realize. Think about this for a moment. Millions of people owned this exact coin and never once stopped to look at it. They never looked at the mint mark, never studied the devices, never checked for special traits, and never realized that certain examples were worth saving. But you're here, learning exactly what to look for, meaning you're already ahead of most collectors. The 1999 New Jersey Quarter represents a piece of American history, a turning point in modern coin collecting, and a coin that rewards anyone who searches carefully. Its value comes from condition, rarity among high-grade examples, special mint characteristics, and strong collector demand that has lasted for more than 2 decades. And whether it came from circulation, a coin jar, an old drawer, or a bankroll, this coin has the potential to be far more valuable than anyone expects. So whenever you come across a 1999 New Jersey Washington State Quarter with the P mint mark, don't ignore it. Study it. Inspect the details. Look for strong luster, clean surfaces, sharp edges, and special traits. Because the truth is simple, this coin is valuable, and the right example can surprise even experienced collectors. And every single time you search through your coins, keep this one in mind. A coin like this doesn't just appear every day. But when it does, it can instantly become one of the most important finds in any collection. This is why collectors across America keep their eyes open for it, and why you should too. Next up, imagine holding a 2004 Texas Washington State Quarter with the P mint mark in your hand, a coin that millions of Americans spent every single day without ever looking closely at it. Most people never realized that this quarter, one of the most iconic designs of the entire state quarters program, carries details and mint characteristics that can make certain examples far more valuable than the average pocket change coin. And today, you're about to discover exactly why collectors across the country still search for the right 2004 P Texas Quarter, and why you should never ignore this coin whenever you find one. The Texas Quarter was part of the later wave of the state quarters program, released when millions of new collectors had already joined the hobby. Because of that, the 2004 P Texas Quarter became one of the most searched for coins of the early 2000s. But even with millions struck by the Philadelphia Mint, not all of them were created equal. In fact, only a very small percentage of these coins show the kind of condition, sharpness, and minting traits that cause collectors to pay strong premiums. That is exactly what makes this coin so exciting. The right example is valuable, and most people don't even know what they're holding. The design itself is striking. It features a large 5-pointed star centered on the outline of the state of Texas, along with the powerful motto, the Lone Star State. The clean lines, bold devices, and wide open fields of this design mean the smallest scratch, ding, or mark stands out instantly. That is why collectors pay so much attention to surface condition on this coin. Smooth fields, sharp edges, clean lettering, and strong luster can dramatically change how desirable a Texas quarter is. The moment a coin shows too much wear, its appeal drops. But the moment a coin has that crisp, untouched look, collectors take notice. And that's when it becomes a valuable piece. Another reason the 2004 P Texas Quarter continues to attract collectors is the behavior of the dies used at the Philadelphia Mint. Because of the massive production demands during the state quarters program, dies were pushed hard. Some were replaced early, some stayed in use too long, and some developed cracks, chips, or doubling that appear on specific coins. These mint characteristics are huge for collectors. A simple die chip or die break on the outline of the state on the star, or along the lettering can turn an ordinary coin into a collectible standout. Doubling is another factor that makes the hunt exciting. Some 2004 Texas quarters show doubling on the letters, the star, or the outline of Texas. Even minor doubling can make the coin far more interesting, and collectors actively search rolls and old coin jars, hoping to find one. When a common-looking coin suddenly shows crisp doubling under light, its desirability increases instantly. The Philadelphia Mint struck hundreds of millions of these quarters, but here's something most people don't realize. Finding a truly well-preserved 2004 Texas quarter is extremely difficult. Even though the coin isn't old, most examples spent years in circulation. They were tossed in pockets, dropped in drive-through trays, scraped against other coins, and worn down long before anyone thought of saving them. That's why high-quality examples with bright luster and clean surfaces are so scarce and so valuable. And the Texas design itself makes condition even more important. The wide, open fields around the star and the state outline show contact marks more easily than many other state quarter designs. On top of that, the star's sharp edges tend to wear down quickly, and the outline of Texas loses definition fast if the coin circulates, even for a short time. This means that any survivor with strong detail and minimal marks becomes a standout piece that collectors want. The Texas quarter also holds a special place in the hearts of many collectors because Texas is one of the most widely recognized and culturally influential states in the country. People who collect state-themed items, people with Texas heritage, and collectors focused on regional history all demand this coin in the best condition possible. That extra demand boosts interest even more, especially for coins from the Philadelphia Mint with particularly sharp strikes. Whenever you find a 2004 Texas quarter, look carefully at the star. Its points should be sharp, with clean lines and no flattening. Check the outline of the state for strong details, clear edges, and no distortion. Examine the fields for marks, scratches, or dullness. Turn the coin under a bright light, and study the letters and the date for any signs of doubling. Study the surfaces around the edges for die chips or cracks. These are the traits that can make a coin not just collectible, but truly valuable. Remember that most people have no idea that this coin can be worth more than face value. They spend it without a second thought. They toss it in a jar. They overlook it in change. But you now know how to identify the key factors that make this coin special, and that knowledge puts you far ahead of the average collector. Every time you look at a 2004 Texas state quarter, you're not just looking at pocket change, you're looking at a potential treasure hiding in plain sight. The 2004 Texas Washington State quarter remains a powerful symbol of American history, state pride, and a golden era of modern coin collecting. Its value comes from its condition, its scarcity in high-end preservation, its unique mint characteristics, and the strong demand that continues among collectors across the United States. And while we're not mentioning exact prices, it's absolutely true. The right example of this coin is valuable. So, whenever you come across a Texas quarter, stop and take a closer look. You might be holding a coin that's worth far more than you realize, and one that collectors are still searching for today. Keep your eyes open, check your change, and never underestimate what a simple quarter can become when it carries the right details. This is one of those coins that can turn an ordinary moment into an extraordinary discovery. Next up, the 2008 Arizona-Washington State quarter with the D mint mark is one of those modern U.S. coins that looks completely ordinary at first glance, but once you know what to look for, you realize instantly that this quarter can be valuable, far more valuable than the average person would ever expect. Millions of Americans spent this coin in daily circulation, but only a tiny percentage ever stopped to notice the rare details, strike traits, and mint features that make certain 2008 D Arizona quarters incredibly desirable among collectors. And today, you're going to discover exactly why this coin matters and why you should never ignore it when you see it. The Arizona State Quarter design released in 2008 celebrates one of the most iconic landscapes in the United States, the Grand Canyon, along with a powerful saguaro cactus rising in the foreground. But what most people don't realize is that this beautiful design also contains extremely fine details that can wear down quickly, making sharp, well-preserved examples from the Denver Mint surprisingly hard to find. And that is exactly where the value comes in. The moment a coin has strong luster, crisp edges, clean fields, and clear detail in both the Grand Canyon lines and the cactus, collectors start paying attention. That's when a simple-looking quarter becomes something far more valuable. The 2008 D Arizona quarter came from the Denver Mint, and Denver strikes often show unique quirks, die chips, small breaks, extra thickness, and subtle doubling. Collectors love these features because they make a coin stand out from the ordinary strike-quality coins that went through circulation. Some 2008 D Arizona quarters show raised metal near the cactus arms or lettering, or tiny chips appearing along the canyon lines. These traits don't appear on every coin, but when they do, collectors take notice instantly. Any unique mint feature makes this coin even more interesting and more valuable. One of the biggest reasons the 2008 D Arizona quarter is exciting is that the Denver Mint was producing massive quantities of state quarters at the time, and dies were pushed hard. When dies wear down, their strikes weaken. When dies fatigue, small cracks appear. When dies shift or vibrate slightly, doubling appears. All of these events create coins that are different from the typical circulation strike, and collectors search specifically for those details. Even a minor doubling on the lettering Arizona, Grand Canyon State, or the date can turn an ordinary quarter into a notable collectible. Now, let's look at the design itself. The Grand Canyon background contains long, thin, layered lines. These lines flatten quickly in circulation, and once that happens, the reverse design loses depth. That means sharp examples with bold canyon layers are much harder to find. The saguaro cactus on the left side of the reverse also has detailed ribs that must remain clear for the coin to be considered well struck. When these ribs stay sharp and clean, collectors see much more appeal. And when both the canyon and cactus retain strong definition, the coin instantly becomes more desirable, and yes, it becomes valuable. The fields of the coin, the open, flat spaces, play another huge role. The Arizona design contains wide, open fields around the state outline, around the sun rays, and around specific elements of the artwork. These areas show marks quickly. Even one deep scratch or a few contact marks can lower collector interest. That's why unmarked, smooth, reflective fields are not just preferred, they're rare. And because they're rare, they're valuable. Even though the coin is relatively modern, the truth is that most 2008 D Arizona quarters traveled through heavy circulation. They rolled around in pockets, coin trays, glove compartments, and public vending machines. They collected scratches, dirt, and dullness long before anyone thought they might be collectibles someday. That's why finding one with its original brightness and fresh mint luster is significantly harder than you might expect. A sharp, untouched example becomes a desirable piece that collectors are actively searching for today. Collectors also pay close attention to the obverse, the portrait of George Washington. On a high-quality 2008 D Arizona quarter, Washington's hair strands are crisp, the cheek and jawline remain bold, and the lettering around the rim is sharp. The D mint mark must be clear and well-defined. These details matter because condition determines desirability, and desirability determines value. Demand for this coin remains strong because Arizona is one of the most culturally recognized and visually iconic states in the United States. Collectors who love the southwestern region, collectors focused on state quarter history, and collectors building full 50-state sets all need a sharp Arizona example. This pushes demand even higher for the Denver Mint coins that still show strong detail and minimal wear. And the key point you must remember is simple. The 2008 D Arizona State Quarter is valuable when it has the right traits: strong strike, clean surfaces, sharp canyon lines, clear cactus ribs, minimal marks, natural luster, and special mint features like doubling or die chips. The combination of these elements is what makes this coin stand out from the millions of ordinary examples that circulated for years. So, the next time you find a 2008 Arizona quarter with a D mint mark, stop and take your time to examine it closely. Look at the cactus arms, check the canyon layers, study the sun rays, inspect the letters, and scan the fields for luster. You might be holding something that collectors would love to add to their collections, something far more valuable than most people ever realize. Keep searching through your change, your old coin jars, and your save rolls. Because this is one of those coins that can appear anywhere at any moment. And when it does, it has the potential to become one of the most exciting finds in any modern collection. All because the right 2008 D Arizona quarter is far more valuable than it seems. Next up, the 2000 South Carolina Washington State quarter with the P mint mark is one of those modern coins that most Americans have seen countless times, spent without thinking and tossed into drawers or jars without realizing its true importance. But the moment you take a closer look at this coin, everything changes. Hidden inside this single design are details, strike characteristics, and mint features that make certain examples far more valuable than the average pocket change quarter. And today, you're going to learn exactly why collectors across the United States still hunt for the right 2000 P South Carolina quarter, and why you should never ignore this one when you find it. Released in the earliest years of the 50 State Quarters program, the South Carolina design represents a turning point in modern U.S. coin collecting. Millions collected these coins, but far fewer understood how quickly these early state quarters wore down in everyday circulation. That's the key, because even though the Philadelphia Mint produced a massive number of them, truly well-preserved, sharply struck examples are extremely hard to find. And when a coin becomes difficult to find in high-end condition, it instantly becomes more desirable and more valuable. The reverse design of the 2000 South Carolina quarter features the state outline, the palmetto tree, the Carolina wren, and a star marking the state capital. Each one of these details contains fine lines and small features that wear down fast. When the coin circulates, the bird loses definition, the palmetto fronds fade, the state outline blurs, and the fields begin to dull. This means that clean, bright, detailed examples stand out dramatically from the thousands of worn ones that travel through regular circulation. When collectors find a sharp example with bold details and strong luster, they immediately take interest, and that's where the value begins. Collectors also pay close attention to the Philadelphia Mint's behavior in the year 2000. The Mint pushed out huge quantities of coins, which led to noticeable variations between strikes. Some dies produced razor-sharp details, others began to weaken quickly. Certain dies developed cracks, chips, or doubling, traits that collectors love because they make specific coins unique. Some 2000 P South Carolina quarters show die chips around the palmetto tree, cracks through the lettering, or extra thickness near the state outline. These subtle features don't appear on every coin, but when they do, they dramatically increase collector interest. The fields on this coin, the open, flat areas surrounding the designs, are another major factor in value. These fields show contact marks easily. Even brief circulation can create scratches or nicks that lower a coin's visual appeal. That's why coins with smooth, unmarked fields are significantly more desirable. Most people never see one in that condition, but collectors search bank rolls and old coin jars, hoping to find an example that escaped heavy use. The obverse of the coin, the portrait of George Washington, also plays a major role in determining desirability. A high-quality 2000p example will show crisp hair strands, a sharply defined jawline, clear lettering, and a bold, well-placed P mint mark. On worn coins, Washington's hair flattens, the cheek becomes dull, and the mint mark loses clarity. That's why collectors prefer examples with strong detail and original mint luster, traits that quickly turn a normal-looking quarter into a more valuable piece. Even though this coin isn't old in the traditional sense, the biggest surprise for new collectors is how few 2000 P South Carolina quarters remain in high-grade condition today. Remember, these coins were released at a time when millions of Americans were excited about collecting state quarters, but most people saved circulated coins rather than untouched ones. As a result, The truly well-preserved pieces, those with sharp devices, reflective surfaces, and no heavy marks, are much scarcer today. And when something becomes scarce while demand remains high, its value increases. What makes the South Carolina design especially interesting is how quickly its details show wear. The Carolina wren has tiny feather details that disappear almost immediately in circulation. The palmetto leaves fade with just a small amount of handling. The star marking the capital can flatten easily, and the state outline itself loses sharpness if a coin is spent even a few dozen times. That means a survivor with clear, bold features is much more than just a 25-cent piece. It's a collectible item with real value. Collectors also love state-themed coins, and South Carolina remains one of the most historically rich and culturally significant states represented in the series. This alone gives the coin built-in demand from collectors who want pristine examples of each state's design. When strong demand meets limited supply, especially for high-quality examples, the result is value that most people never expect from such a common-looking coin. And here's the part that surprises nearly everyone. The right 2000 South Carolina quarter is absolutely valuable. Even though we're not mentioning exact prices, it's important to understand that condition, mint features, scarcity among high-grade examples, and collector demand all combine to make certain specimens much more desirable than others. And these standout examples hide in regular pocket change every single day, waiting for someone who knows how to spot them. So, the next time you come across a 2000 South Carolina Washington State quarter with the P mint mark, don't overlook it. Study it carefully under a bright light. Check the palmetto leaves. Look for detail in the wren's feathers. Examine the state outline. Search for doubling, die chips, cracks, or anything that stands out. Inspect the obverse for sharp hair and clean fields. Every one of these traits can elevate the coin from ordinary to collectible, and from collectible to valuable. Keep paying attention to your change, your coin jars, and your bankrolls. Because this is one of those coins that people spend without thinking, but collectors search for constantly. And when you finally find a right one, it can become one of the most exciting discoveries in your modern coin collection, all because the 2000 South Carolina quarter is far more valuable than most people ever realize. Next up, the 2000 Massachusetts Washington State quarter with the P mint mark is one of those coins that millions of people spent without a second thought, never realizing that certain examples of this very coin can be far more valuable than the average pocket change quarter. Even though it's a modern coin, the moment you understand how the design works, how the Philadelphia Mint produced it, and what details collectors focus on, you'll see exactly why this quarter is still heavily searched for today, and why you should never ignore it when you find one. The Massachusetts State quarter pays tribute to one of the most historically important states in the United States. Released in the year 2000, it features the iconic statue known as the Minuteman, a symbol of American independence, standing boldly in front of the state outline. This design is beautiful, but it also includes tiny, delicate details that make the quality of the strike incredibly important. The moment these details flatten or fade, the coin becomes ordinary. But when they remain sharp, crisp, and well-defined, the coin instantly becomes something collectors want. And that's exactly what makes certain examples valuable. Collectors pay close attention to how the Philadelphia Mint struck this coin. During the early years of the state quarter program, the Mint was producing massive quantities and dies were pushed extremely hard. As dies wear down, their ability to produce sharp, detailed coins decreases. That means that while the total number of 2000 Massachusetts quarters is huge, the number of sharply struck, well-preserved, high-quality examples is surprisingly small. Scarcity in high-end condition is one of the biggest reasons this coin can be valuable today. The Minuteman design itself contains numerous key details that collectors analyze carefully. Look at the musket, the clothing folds, the facial features, and the stance of the figure. These elements are very fine and show wear quickly. Even slight circulation can soften the details, flatten the folds in the clothing, and reduce the crispness of the musket. A well-preserved example with deep, sharp lines is always going to stand out. The state outline behind the Minuteman also contains smooth fields and curved edges that reveal imperfections instantly. The smoother and cleaner these fields are, the more desirable the coin becomes. Any scratches, smudges, or marks lower the appeal. So when a coin has a clean background with its original mint luster intact, it becomes far more attractive to serious collectors. Another factor that makes this coin exciting is that the Philadelphia Mint often produce coins showing small mint-made characteristics, die cracks, die chips, extra thickness in lettering, or minor doubling. Collectors love these traits because they add uniqueness to an already popular coin. Some 2000 P Massachusetts quarters show extra metal near the outline of the state, small bumps near the Minuteman's musket, or doubling in the letters Massachusetts, the Bay State, or the date. These features don't appear often, but when they do, they increase a coin's desirability dramatically. The obverse, the portrait of George Washington, is also extremely important. A coin with sharp hair detail, a clean cheek, bold lettering, and a bright P mint mark is always going to be more sought after than a worn example. The moment these features begin to fade, the coin becomes less appealing. But when all of them remain crisp, collectors take notice immediately, and again, that's when the coin becomes valuable. Even though this coin was released in the year 2000, the truth is that most examples have been through heavy circulation. They've been dropped, carried around in pockets, scraped against other coins, and pushed through vending machines. That's why finding a high-quality example today can be surprisingly difficult. So much of the original luster is gone from most pieces that when a bright, clean example appears, it looks dramatically different from the average worn coin. Demand is also an essential part of why this coin holds value. Massachusetts, being one of the original 13 colonies and one of the most historically significant states in the nation, has strong collector interest. People who love American history, people with ties to New England, and collectors building full 50-state sets all want this coin in the best possible condition. That increased demand makes premium quality 2000 P Massachusetts quarters even more desired, and of course, more valuable. What surprises most people is how much difference the strike quality can make. A sharply struck coin with strong details, clean fields, and full mint luster is considered premium even without errors. Add a unique die crack or doubling, and the desirability increases even more. Add strong preservation with minimal marks, and suddenly you're holding a coin that collectors actively search for. And the key point is simple. The 2000 Massachusetts Washington State quarter with the P mint mark can be valuable. Even though we're not discussing exact prices, the combination of condition, scarcity in high-end examples, collector demand, and unique mint characteristics all play a major role in determining its desirability. So, the next time you see a 2000 P Massachusetts quarter in your change, don't overlook it. Turn it under a bright light. Look at the Minuteman's clothing folds. Study the musket. Check the outline of the state. Examine the fields for marks. Inspect the obverse for hair detail, cheek cleanliness, and crisp lettering. Every one of these elements can transform this quarter from a simple piece of circulating currency into a highly collectible and potentially valuable modern coin. Search your coin jars, examine your pocket change, and keep your eyes open. Because this coin is still out there, and the right example can become one of the most exciting finds in any state quarter collection, all because the 2000 P Massachusetts quarter is far more valuable than most people ever realize. Before we wrap up, I want to remind you that every coin we talked about today, from these powerful state quarters to the hidden treasures sitting in everyday pocket change, proves one thing: you never know what valuable coin might already be in your home. So keep searching, keep learning, and keep checking every single coin that passes through your hands. And if you enjoyed this breakdown and want to keep uncovering more American coin secrets, make sure you head over to my other video on Wheat Pennies. It's packed with details every collector needs to know, and you definitely don't want to miss it. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more deep dives on rare and valuable coins. Make sure to like this video, share it with your friends who love coin hunting, and drop a comment below telling me which coin you want covered next. Your support helps this channel grow and helps us bring even more American coin knowledge to collectors across the country. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.